What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another review for Monday Night Raw. Today we are doing the February 7th, 1994 edition, so let's get right into it. Just like I told you on the last review, I think the Marty and IRS storyline for their match tonight gets recapped to start off the show. I'm not gonna lie, I'm enjoying watching these shows and reviewing them, but I also have to say that now I know why people say that the early and mid 90s were some of the worst periods in the WWE. There are no stars in any sort of position that carries these shows. The only difference with today's WWE is that Vince is actually still trying to make stars back in 1994. And he's in a rebuilding process with the wrestlers that he has on the roster. So we are still about 2 to 3 years away from there being multiple top feuds with more than one star going on at the same time. So getting back to the show, the Smoking Guns are taking on some jobbers and they pick up a win and again impress with a nice looking finisher. I think they're close to being on WWF for a year, so if they weren't already, they might be in line for a tag team title shot. I know they eventually win the titles, but it would be cool to see them win now rather than later. And what happened to the Steiner brothers? Have they left to WCW already? Next up, we get a pre-recorded interview with Owen Hart talking about what he did to Bret Hart at the Royal Rumble, and then Bret also reacts to him having to face Owen at WrestleMania. He said that he would never forgive himself if he had to fight Owen, but he has to do it because it needs to be settled, because he doesn't think there is any other way. And he also thinks that he can knock some sense into Owen if they do have this match. So then Owen comes out and gets the win with the sharpshooter over a jobber. Then we see another video of Paul Bearer telling us that if we believe enough, one day the Undertaker will return. As he talks, the Undertaker walks in the background, trying to make it look like he's lurking and nobody notices him, but it's obvious that he's there. So our main match of the week, IRS versus Marty Jannetty. This guy Marty has been acting cocky over the last couple of weeks. When he's hitting his moves, he gets this smirk on his face like, yeah, I can do that. I make it look easy, don't I? It's not bad if you're doing it as a heel, but him doing it as a babyface makes him unlikable. Midway through the match, the Quebecers make their way to the ringside area. They try to get involved, but a referee from the back comes out to throw them out. IRS puts Jannetty in the abdominal stretch and grabs the ropes. The reason I point this out is because the kids in the front rows start yelling at the ref, who isn't in position, that he is using the ropes. IRS tells them to shut up, and the ref acknowledges them and asks them if he is using them, and the kids say yes. This, for no other reason, was a good spot because of how they let the crowd be a part of the match. Just think about it, if you're a kid and you're sitting front row and the referee is asking you, getting you involved in the match, it would probably be a cool experience. Then Johnny Polo and Razor Ramon also come to ringside, followed by the Quebecers coming back out after getting tossed out. Marty Jannetty goes for a slingshot move from the apron, but Polo pulls his leg without the referee seeing, and Marty crashes to the inside where IRS covers him for the win. Racer and the Quebecers get in the ring and brawl for a little bit. Then Marty comes in to help, and one of the Quebecers get hit with the Racer's edge. We are told that in 2 weeks we might see the Quebecers defend the tag belts against Racer and Jannetty. So now we just have to wait to see if Jack Tunney is going to get off his ass and sign this match. The next match is Dwayne Gill taking on Thurman Sparky Plug in Sparky's first one-on-one match on Monday Night Raw. He picks up a win with a diving knee drop from the top rope, which I believe Vince calls it the overhead cam, like how they have cameras overhead in racing. I think that's what he said, but I could be wrong. But who cares? Let's move on. The last thing on the show is Crush beating some jobber, and then right after we have the Quebecers with Johnny Polo complaining about having to defend the belts. And just FYI, Bastion Booger was on commentary this episode. They're still switching out superstars on the table ever since Randy Savage has gotten into it with Crush, and now that Bobby Heenan left for WCW. So that's it for the show. Let's get to the awards. And now that it's been a year, I think I'm going to remove the best and worst match awards for a couple weeks and maybe months, maybe years. There are just too many jobber matches where it's not even fair to pick best match because it's always the only non-jobber match on the show that gets it. So for best moment, we have the announcement of Marty Jannetty and Razor Ramon versus the Quebecers for the tag team titles. Gets me excited for a match down the line on Raw. And then for the worst moment, I had them ending the show with a jobber match once again. For the wackest performer, I had Bastion Booger. He's good at playing that character, but still, why is he on a wrestling show? For the stand-up performer, I had Bret Hart's promo this week. It was good. He didn't mumble like he usually does. So Bret's going to pick up the stand-up performer on a 40-minute show with his 3-minute interview. Nobody else really did much. All of these last couple of shows could be used to introduce someone to wrestling for the first time. I said this already, but they are going so slow with these feuds. Not in a they're carefully furthering the storylines either. I mean, they are taking their sweet ass time to get to the point. One good example is the Intercontinental title picture. Shawn got into it with Racer back in November, then the next time all the way in January at the Rumble, and we haven't seen them touch or confront each other since. Just move it along and keep these storylines in people's heads. I swear, if I was only watching Monday Night Raw weekly back then, I'd forget who was infused because of how long some of these guys are off the show. I'm going to give this episode another bad grade, and this is going to continue until we get multiple non jobber matches, or some good segments that last a while, or a good conclusion to the show. But until then, I'm out. I'll catch you guys on the next one.